Hey guys, what's going on? It's Filmington. In today's video, we're going to be doing something a little different, a little storytelling. Um, so back in December of 2020, this was probably 4 or 5 months after I started to dip my feet into the basketball card market, modern basketball. And this, of course, was, 8 or 9 months after COVID kind of started in the States. So the market was on fire, and this was right as the NBA season was about to restart. And I listed a lot on eBay, just two cards, two Silver Prisms, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And what I noticed really surprised me. I could tell right away that the people that were approaching me, it was just a little bit of a shocker, in that the demographic, the types of people, just based on the types of questions I was getting. Now, this is a fixed price listing, no offers, right below market value. I think I had them listed at $375, and I received an onslaught of messages about this lot. And so, why is that unusual? It's unusual because within a 2.5 week period, I think I received about 18 messages asking about the item, its condition, even though that was disclosed in the listing that, these are near mint to mint condition cards. You could tell in the pictures some of the surface defects as well. But I had 18 people approach me, and I'm not new to selling raw cards on eBay at all, but 18 people to approach me within such a short time period. If this is based on my experience, if I'm listing a raw card and I have 2 to 3 people approach me within a period of like 2 or 3 days, usually it sells, because that's usually an indication that I'm priced at market value or below. And usually the person would just be like, all right, it's the first person might, try to negotiate down a little bit. The second person might be inquisitive on the condition and just want to make sure that the corners are fine. And if I tell them, there's a white corner on the back, then maybe the next person buys the card or cards. But in this case, 18 different inquiries about the lot. First, when I was making this video, I thought it was going to be more about ultra modern basketball and how this was a telltale sign that it was in a state of a bubble. Well, looking back on it, it was. And I created a manual index, used the create your own index functionality on Card Ladder. And what I did was I set the parameters at pop counts of at least 500 in PSA 10. So I looked at PSA 10s of, any card produced between 2018 and 2020 that was in their database. And I think it was over 200 cards. I did this for basketball. So the peak with that index was in late December, not coincidentally. And it's fallen since then 75% from the peak in December 2020. So it's down 75% from today. The 2-year decline is about 64%. So, when I did a similar exercise with ultra-modern baseball, what I found is that, yes, the last 2 years, it's only down a smaller amount. It's down 36%, I believe. But if you're going to take that back and look at the actual peak, which came in Q1, so the peak for ultra-modern baseball was March 21st, 2021. For this index, again, pop of at least 500 cards printed between 2018 to 2020, all cards in their database, and PSA 10s only. And for baseball, it was a little over 100 cards. So we saw the peak for that in March, and it's fallen 69% since then. So, the difference is really the timing of the peak. And of course, this is limited to the cards in their database. There could be factors related to the brands of the cards, the players included, the cards included, the performance of those players. So it's still hard to compare the two markets, but you can still draw the conclusion that the baseball peak came a bit later in March. So these speculators, people that would only close the deal if there was enough meat on the bone for them, right? It wasn't enough to get a card at a fair price that they were looking for. Many of these people, you can tell by their feedback, some of them are new to eBay or they have new accounts. So you can't deduce that they're completely new to eBay, but a lot of these people had Feedback under 500, under 100, some in the single digits. Some had sneaker flipper in their name. Just people asking for additional photos, but the photos taken were actually very, very strong because I bought this lot from a friend and I actually used his original pictures, and he's got one of those light boxes or bulbs, and he does a much better job than me with some of the refractory type cards. So can you do 350 on this lot? I mean, it's listed at 380, and there's a number of people that are offering me 360, 350. And it's like, I had, at that point, and this is the reason why I saved these messages, because I thought eventually I might make a video about this, but I was thinking that ultramodern basketball doesn't have the same percentage of collectors as ultramodern baseball has. You can still make that argument. I'm not here to make that argument, though. Might be true, it might not be. But clearly, there were a lot of speculators driving up the prices of ultramodern basketball cards based on, again, these interactions and the fact that the card hadn't sold. This was also during the grading bubble. If you recall, December of 2020 is when PSA and Beckett were both open for business. It was about 2 to 3 months before they shuttered for a number of months because of the inflow of demand. So a lot of these people are grading the cards themselves. Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. I would do that too. But to have this many price-sensitive people, to not be able to close on a card like this very quickly that's clearly priced under market value, again, based on the number of inquiries that were coming in, was just very, very surprising. Definitely an eye-opener for me. Lowest you could go. How is the surface? Any scratches or dents? Again, so either cost-related, trying to drive the price down on me, or condition-oriented questions. And I had responded to a number of these people too. So it was tiring. I think I told people, like, this won't gem. You might get a 9. You're not going to get a PSA 10 with either of these. But that wasn't enough. Again, I'm not new to selling cards that are raw. I know not to list them in the top loader because you're going to have questions about lint, dust, reflections, and you just won't be able to see the defects of the card as well. So yeah, any major flaws. So I bet I could go back and I could verify the accounts of where a lot of these questions originated, and I bet a lot of these accounts have closed. I bet a lot of them aren't based in the same hometown or home state as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I bet they're not fans of said player. So, yeah. So definitely something, looking back on it, like, it was pretty clear that we were either at the top or near the top of a historic boom cycle. All right, guys, that's it. If you have any of your own stories, place them below of the 2020 and Q1 2021 boom cycle. Any clear crash indicators? Curious to hear your stories. Take care, guys. Filmington out.